What's great? It's Santi coming back to you guys with another one. Recognizing the Game, episode 34. Black Flag, y'all tu sabes, you know what it is. This is a recap of Semen Retention and the God Concept Part 2. And in the previous video, I finished it off with saying how with practicing semen retention, you're going back to your original state. There are people who are going to take offense for the fact that I challenge the God concept, because the concept of God that they have become familiar with has essentially become tied to their identity. And that's what people don't understand. If I'm having a conversation with somebody and they seek to try to give me a definition of God, they're going inside of themselves. They may not necessarily be going within, but they're going inside of their mind, their thought space, to their imagination, into their brain, to pull out information to justify the existence of their God. Now, when I say their God, that's not their God per se, because it doesn't come from them. But you're not going to the external, to the outer world to get your information. You're actually going inside of yourself, because you couldn't pinpoint a source outside of you and say that that is God. Now, if you're a pantheist, where you think that God is everything, you know what I'm saying, like everything. Now, when you get to a universal perspective of understanding the cosmos and the universe, you will understand that the cosmos and nature is God, but you cannot personify it. You cannot give it human characteristics. You cannot make it a person, because it is not a human being. The cosmos has been and always will be. And you can see that in the Buddhist teachings, the Taoist teachings, and the Eastern philosophies, just as an example, but even in indigenous cultures. So with people and their understanding of God is that once you've been given a God concept, before we're given a God concept, we're already complete. We're not dualistic. We're not caught up in duality. We're not caught up in good or evil, right or wrong. We just look at situations as they are. We don't label things as children. We strive for understanding, and we don't necessarily get attached to our understanding of those things. We look at each thing from moment to moment and move freely, more so as just being the observers. So when you get to studying and going within, and I mean really studying, I mean stepping outside of Christian teachings, and someone like me who's grown up in the Bible Belt, all of these things, all of these concepts are forced on you, and you're given a one-way lens into viewing the world, because what people don't understand about Christianity is that it is not the first religion. People have this idea that it is the first religion, but it'd be different if it was the first religion and everything came from it. But it's the youngest religion, one of the youngest religions. It's the youngest religion that took from everything else and didn't take from other religions. It took its knowledge from spiritual systems. There's a difference between spiritual systems and religion. Indigenous people had spiritual systems. So with practicing semen retention, you're going back more towards your spiritual nature, your original nature. And when you think about the word original, think about the word origin, which is coming directly from the source. When you're born, you're coming directly from the source, and it has no name. Because if it had a name, you'd be given that name. You would know it as soon as you were born. The source is just recognizing the point. It is a point of reference. And so when you free yourself from the God concept, what you're doing is that you're becoming more conscientious of the mental plane. So with you being more conscientious of the mental plane, you're recognizing that God is a concept. Not saying that we do not have a creator. God is a concept and an image that is very distorted within your mind. And once you free yourself from that, you redirect your energy towards yourself. And now you see who you are. You're not spending your time running after this idea of appeasing a God and doing things for God and searching for God. Take away God, take away Jesus, and they are just concepts. That's all they are. They are not actual entities that you can taste, touch, feel, and see. They are not actual entities with physical bodies. They are concepts, which means they only exist in the mind. So when you free yourself from that, you free yourself from other things that are tied to that, such as self-limiting beliefs in the way in which you view yourself. Another example is the concepts of heaven and hell. And you're only living in the now. You start to become more spiritually rational, recognizing that, well, look, if I have been going down my path and I've been having experiences and I've learned from them, I should have no fear of hell. I should have no fear of hell or any desire of heaven, because I'm not there yet. And the only thing that is real is the right now. It's the now. Everything else is just a figment of the imagination. I know who I am in this moment, and that is what is real. And I'm in tune with myself, and I'm aligned with myself at this point. Most people, when we're talking about the masses and social conditioning and mass conditioning, they have fears of going to hell, and they go to church because of fear. Not because of truth, not because of knowledge, but because of the belief that stems from fear. They have been conditioned to see that as the ultimate reality. People do a lot of things out of fear. This reality is not what it seems, and there are levels to this. There are levels to the conditioning and the false reality that comprises of the matrix. Your religion and your God concept is one of those things. Your God concept comes from the oppressor. Your God concept comes from the individual who designed the matrix. And we're talking about the Western world, Western society. All of these things are designed to keep us from knowing who we are. And you have to understand that we're dealing with the esoteric, but we also have to connect it to the physical plane. Practically looking at things and seeing what's before us. It's 15 and 16-year-olds, you know what I'm saying, that I see on social media and, in group chats and things of that nature. And I see that they don't recognize that they're already being socially conditioned. They're already being misled by certain information that could fall along the lines of what is deemed conspiracy theory. And even though they are stepping away from the world that we live in, we're already in the new world order. It's already here. Looking outside of the matrix, that concept, it's the new world order. But people have to get out and recognize from a practical standpoint what the matrix is. When I talked about colonization, what is colonization? We'll break that down in future videos. What is going on with the quote unquote race wars and all of those things, and all of those things stem from. What you all don't understand is that during colonization, they were developing the matrix. These individuals that created the matrix are the ones that created racism. Capitalism and modernization, quote unquote, and the industrialization of the world is tied to it. So the God concept at this point is whatever rules you. That is your God. Whatever it is that you're attached to, and it's not healthy. Despite everything that's going on, we have to go within. We have to get back to our original state of being. Heaven, hell, and God, which God is a title and not the name of an actual being. None of that exists within you when you go within. It is only you at your source and you at your soul. Understand that. Study and do your research. And I'm not just talking about watching YouTube videos. Study the different religions. Study Taoism, Shinto, Zoroastrianism. Study what are categorized as the Eastern philosophies, starting with Jainism, Hinduism, Buddhism, and Shinto. Of course, Shinto is associated in origins as it's coming from Japan and from the indigenous people of Japan. Then for the Western philosophies, you have Zoroastrianism, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. I'll talk about those more individually in the future to give you a proper context into how they were developed. But people need to study. And no, none of the religions and philosophies that I have just stated to you were called those names during that time and were given those labels during colonization. And this is what I mean by recognizing the game. Love. Salud.